I love it. Very important. PMK, what say you? What are your two initiatives?
I feel like I'm repeating what's already been said, but I feel that I agree with everyone else that it's important, is education. I've always been a big supporter of education and that. I think when you belong to a trade association, you have not only right to join, but you have the responsibility to show that you are part of an industry that is moving forward with your abilities to be valued. And I think that comes through education in various forms, but it is very important. A trade association, as opposed to like a regular staging and training association, which are all important, but they're important for different reasons. I think when you have a trade association like RESA, people look to that association for expertise. They look for professionalism. They look for the guiding light of the industry to carry you as to what is the next step, what is the next service, what is the next trend. And I think that comes from education and sinking yourself and immersing yourself into being the best you can be, because we're the representatives. The trade association and the members of that trade association, I think, are the representatives of the industry, a true representative. Just like the Realtors Association, the American Medical Association, everyone always looks to those people of that trade that are members as the guiding as to what's coming next, what's valued, and what's important. So I think continuing on with what RESA has implemented, and is even in the last year, with giving some guidance and standards, continuing on with that, not necessarily hardcore regulation, but just standards, so that there is a level of expectancy, there's a level of adequacy and education as we move forward. So education is a big thing with me. And then unity in the fact that we offer so many different services now, and like Annie said, is that the industry is constantly growing and we're going in different directions as to what staging is. There is no one module of staging. So I think with unity is to offer these services and show how these services offer profitability, but also keep our community well knit together enough that we're respectful and of all those different services and how it represents our industry, and that we're not going off in different directions, we're actually coming together in different ways. So I think that's where the unity comes in with me, is that I want to see us grow more. I want to see us go in different directions, but I want us to remain together and as a whole, so the industry is still very solid. You know, coming from what is considered a smaller business, I think there's a misconception in our industry of what is a standard, what is small, what is large. People see a large warehouse or a large staff, and they immediately go to, I want to be that. Well, there's steps to get there, and it being a smaller team or a smaller process has nothing to do with your profitability. You can be a 2-person team, a 3-person team, and have huge profitability, be very successful. If you want to grow eventually into a larger team, that's great. That's something to look forward to. But don't use that as your standard of, I have to be this in order to be successful. Just like services we have in our industry, there's many different forms of profitability and success. And I think for those who are smaller or newer, or do something that maybe is not the standard looked at, such as vacant or just occupied, maybe they offer a different form of a staging service, they need to feel confident and empowered that you are just as important, you have just as much of a voice, and you are just as much a part of this industry as anybody else. That's why I'm where the unity comes in. I think we are so diverse, but we need to recognize that diversity of what we do, how we grow, what our goals are. A 2-person team making 6 figures a year is just as important as the 10-person team making a 7-figure. We each fit together in our value for the industry. We serve different demographics. And I think that's what makes us great and what makes us special. and should keep us together because we learn from each other. Sometimes the smaller business may have actually a better way of doing something that gave them that profitability that someone who is larger may not see because they don't have the time or the focus to look for that particular thing. Marketing, advertising, how they keep their employees running and positive, how they get new clients, how they keep their clients, how they look at numbers. I think the business aspect is very important in this industry. So, you know, to welcome people in as members because they may have the passion is great. That's something to start with. Talent is something great to start with. But I think we need to emphasize that that's only a starting point, not your full qualification for running a successful business. You've got to have the other basics, be it come from certification or be it come from webinars and additional CEUs. It's got to come from somewhere. And I think we as a trade association need to offer those things somewhere, somehow, so that we keep the industry at its best empowerment, at its best success, at its best recognized value. So when consumers and other people are looking at us, they are recognizing what it really takes to help them, what education and what we had to go through to form a business to help them become successful. So, you know, when you're on the board, I think it's not just passion for the industry, it's passion for the people, it's passion for the stability, the change, the voice, the vision. I think it's everything when you're on the board as a whole is to what can you do for the members? What can you do for the industry? What do we do for our whole clients? What do we do for everything? It's not just one thing. It's not just growing membership. It's not just let's change this or let's make this better. It's a big process. It's multidimensional. And I think the more we can involve the members into understanding that you're important, your voice is important, your business is important. Just because you're 2 people or 10 people, it doesn't matter. You are part of this industry, and what you think, what you say, what you need is important to growing this industry properly so that it's valued and grows in a positive direction.
So how will you guys help raise awareness for RESA as an association?
So I think empowering more on a local level for each. I think it's great when you're doing industry-wide as far as social media and that as a whole. But I think if we can bring more emphasis to the RESA chapters as far as bringing the word out on a local basis, because each individual local area has its own set of challenges and its own set of needs. So I think we can grow the industry and bring in more members, bring in more people that are see staging as a value. If we get out more in our own communities and spread the word, be it through the workshops, the CE, to the realtors, or if it's just from the chapters getting in touch with stages to be, things like that, and getting them to understand what's needed and how they're important to the overall success of our industry.